This is going to be very technical with a lot of wrestling ability shown here tonight.
Top wrist lock. Michaels trying to power his way, trying to get a little leverage in. Oh, come on. Yanking the hair.
No, that was sheer power, Mr. McMahon.
I think maybe you need to adjust your monitor.
No, I don't need to adjust anything. Just take a look at the Bulldog's pipes and you can realize there's no way Shawn Michaels can match strength with him.
Shawn Michaels now trying to set up the Bulldog, and no, Michaels is right back down to canvas. Bulldog hanging on for dear life.
No! This maneuver's been around just about as long as the sport has. No. It's as elementary as you can get, but as we said, in this position, Shawn Michaels, number one, can't super kick anybody. He can't use his quickness.
All right, here we go. Up the rope. Down goes Shawn Michaels. Bulldog now. Over Michaels from the other side. Leapfrog nicely up by Michaels, and here we go. No. Leapfrog and tip block. What's this? And up goes Michaels. Michaels got behind him. Driving Bulldog in the rope. No. Michaels out. Look at that. Yeah. Nice maneuver. Oh, come on, ref. That was two. It would have been three. Arm drag. Takedown again.
Michaels is quicker than a hiccup with those arm drag takeovers, and it's beginning to frustrate the Bulldog.
I am impressed. He is very, very fast. Nobody knows better than me. I've been in the ring with Shawn Michaels. Matter of fact, I'm the man that put him out of wrestling. I thought I ended his career live on Raw.
Yeah, hence the slammy out here in front of us, right?
That's right, and I'm damn proud of it. And he has excellent speed, and he may very well be slightly faster than the Bulldog.
Shawn Michaels.
Well, one thing you do when a guy is stronger than you try to work on one of his arms. You take away that upper body strength by diminishing the strength in the arm. I know Davey Boy is right-handed, therefore I would assume that his left arm may be just slightly the weaker of the two.
You'll wonder what the strategy Jose Lothario would advise Shawn Michaels to employ here coming into this matchup that would be different than the original matchup. And wait a minute, Michaels, shoulders up. Oh, come on, ref, right above you.
They work perfect at it.
He's at the ropes. Break it up, referee.
Yeah, it's perfect.
The referee should break it up.
Yeah, well, he broke it up. Mr. Perfect broke it up right there. Oh, almost a count of three. Oh, he had him.
The referee should break it up. When the man gets to the ropes, it's a clean break. He should have made him start over.
Seemed to take his time getting over there to break up that hold on the rope of Davey Boy, however.
That's easy for you to say sitting here hiding behind the table.
I'll grant you that. Yes, you're right.
At his vantage point, it's hard to see.
The Bulldog now trying to make a move. Trying to counter. Uh-oh, and boy, does he ever. British Bulldog.
This is a good pace for the Bulldog. Keep it deliberate. Keep high impact coming at Shawn Michaels. Shawn's giving up about 30 pounds.
Ooh.
The Bulldog's going to want to wear Shawn down and hammer at that body.
Oh, wait a minute. Michaels tried to... Oh, look at that. Oh, missed him in the clothesline. And a drop toe, driving arm bar. And look at this. Michaels in control. Nice takedown by Shawn Michaels.
An arm bar takedown, a modified arm bar takedown. And again, the Bulldog unable to use his strength in this position. The only good news for the Bulldog here, Vince, is he's on his stomach and can't be pinned here.
Hammerlock.
You know, I'm not sure
what?
Jose Lothario didn't interfere there. It looked like he hooked the Bulldog.
And Diana, very concerned look on her face.
Diana, you don't have anything to worry about. Your husband, my brother-in-law, we're taking home the gold tonight.
What do you mean, we?
I'm just saying,
and look at Michaels now trying to get Bulldog over.
We're our own clique and our own unit.
Oh, and a count is two is all he can get. Michaels not able to really pull the Bulldog over all the way.
Well, the Bulldog was able to use his right arm to hook Shawn Michaels and then force the Bulldog's own right shoulder up. That's great power, a great testament of the strength and conditioning of the British Bulldog.
Michaels looked behind him and saw Mr. Perfect there a moment ago as, again, Diana is looking on. And what a celebration. What a great look on her face when she thought the British Bulldog had won the title in the previous event.
He really did, too. I was right there. I was in his corner. I saw him beat him 1, 2, 3.
Michaels now. Sit out. Look at that maneuver. Over the hip. Michaels. Here we go now. Off the rope, and Michaels tried to hook up. No. Trying to get him over. Shawn now. What's he going to do? Missing with a clothesline. Michaels, yeah, with a sleeper hold.
You can't hit what you don't see. Oh, there's power. The Bulldog got in trouble, but he used his power to drive Shawn Michaels back into the corner. Neither man really able to gain any clear-cut advantage here for a sustained length of time.
To the buckle.
You're right, Jim. It's been back and forth, and I think both these men are still feeling each other out, and we're going to soon see who's the better man. I think Shawn Michaels is going to start tiring, and Bulldog will capitalize on that.
Michaels, oh
Gosh,
unbelievable.
tremendous velocity. All the power in the world. The Bulldog sends Michaels for that tremendous ride and snapmares him back over.
And all you can think about on the outside of your Jose Lothario, there he is. Jose leading Shawn Michaels into WrestleMania, Anaheim, California, and said that Michaels was going to bring the gold back to San Antonio, his hometown. He did just that. And Jose, much like Shawn Michaels, an underdog all his life, a man not gifted with extraordinary strength or size, but just like Michaels, they have so much in common, no one can advise Michaels quite like Jose Lothario can. And look out.
Oh, that's a good armbar takedown. That could have dislocated a Bulldog's shoulder. And again, the upper body strength advantage could be eliminated with that maneuver. The Bulldog's left arm's hurting.
Michaels from the top and down across the Bulldog.
Shawn zeroing in.
Number one, turn. A kick out by the Bulldog.
Michaels zeroing in on that shoulder. The left shoulder of the Bulldog seems to be the focal point now for Michaels.
Coming off the rope. Michaels now. Telegraph maneuver there. I think you'd have to concur on the part of the Bulldog. Bulldog telegraphing that attempted back body drop down. Set up again. Reversal now. Coming off the rope. And Michaels, he's been up there before. No! No! That was intentional disqualifying. Come on.
Intentional.
That was intentional disqualified Bulldog.
Bulldog is suffering from fatigue. He had him up over his shoulders, and he slipped and fell over the top rope. You guys are too quick to judge, too quick to disqualify.
Hey, wait a minute. Mr. Perfect arguing with Jose Lothario.
No, Jose Lothario is arguing with Mr. Perfect. They ought to throw him out of here and send him back to Tijuana.
Bulldog now with Michaels, sets him up. And look at this. No. Oh.
Vertical suplex on the floor.
The Bulldog rolling back in.
Well, it was a devastating maneuver.
Yeah, but the Bulldog can't win the title. Win a countout.
Bulldog needs to get Shawn Michaels back in the ring.
Come on. And Mr. Perfect even stopped counting.
I want to take another look at the excellence of the Bulldog there. Let's have another look at him destroying Shawn Michaels.
Double feature set up here now. Watch this. Coming off the rope in. Look at that maneuver.
See that? He slipped.
I still think it was intentional.
He slipped. What is Jose doing? They should get him out of there.
Mr. Perfect having words with Jose Lothario, and now look, picking up the count again.
Well, this countout would be to Shawn Michaels' advantage.
Well, that's the kind of gutless chicken champion he is.
He's trying to get back in the ring.
And Bulldog coming out on the outside. Oh, no. No. Michaels thrown back in.
See,
what power.
Bulldog doesn't want to win by countout. He has to bring Shawn Michaels.
Here we go with a cover. 1, 2. And a kick out by Michaels.
Michaels was trying to stay outside the ring and get counted out, and Bulldog had to bring him back in the ring as not to get counted out so he can pin him 1, 2, 3 right in front of all these Click and all these losers here.
You just got to believe, as this match begins to really unfold, that Shawn Michaels is in for the fight of his life. Not since WrestleMania has Shawn Michaels been in the ring with anyone as well-rounded, offensively, defensively experienced as the British Bulldog.
Michaels' dream coming true at WrestleMania, but it could be shattered right here at any moment by the Bulldog.
It should have come to an end the last time they fought when the Bulldog beat him fair and square.
Michaels with the Bulldog in the corner. Michaels going to the midsection. Michaels setting up Bulldog now. And reversal. Oh, no! Michaels on his feet. Not on his feet for long.
That may have been a knockout punch right there. It may be over. It may be over right here.
And Michaels, of course, with a history of concussions, and you wonder, wait a minute, what's this?
He's going for the surfboard.
I think you're right.
If he can get this on him, that's a guaranteed submission. Unbelievable pain on the shoulder joints, the knee joints, if he can get it on him.
Michaels in trouble. Michaels in big-time trouble.
That'll rip the rotator cuff right out of the shoulder joint. Very difficult to apply. He's got him.
Look at that.
That's it. It's over. It's over. We got a new champion in the family. Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Michaels will not give it up.
I think he said yes.
Perfect. I think Perfect. 2. Oh. And Bulldog screaming at the official.
I'm sure I heard him say, I give, I quit, I hurt, I quit.
Mr. Perfect right there as well to make sure if anyone surrendered, he would hear it.
What's the matter with you? Can't you count to 3?
And now Bulldog trying to slow the pace down, trying to keep Michaels down on the canvas. Using the decided weight and leverage advantage. Jim Cornette, imagine. Cornette is the manager of the World Wrestling Federation champion.
Well, look at, he's managed champions before. Like I said, he managed me and that fat slob Yokozuna. It's very conceivable he'll be managing the British Bulldog, the upcoming World Wrestling Federation champion.
Bulldog. On the receiving of a succession of elbows, breaks a hold, just goes into Michaels, takes a knee to the midsection, spinning him in midair.
Bulldog buried the knee to the abdomen.
Michaels set up again. Bulldog now going for the kill, so to speak. Oh, what a back body drop.
Man, you know to get peanuts on a flight like that.
Yeah, keep on smiling, Di. You got something to be proud of.
Bulldog drops the leg.
Right across the head. It's over.
Cover, we've got a new champion. Yes.
Gotta hook the leg.
How does Michaels kick out of that? Explain that to me, Owen.
Intestinal fortitude. I'm not saying Shawn Michaels isn't a great champion. I'm not saying he doesn't have a lot of heart. I'm just saying he's not as good as the British Bulldog. And when Davey Boy Smith is on top of his game, Shawn Michaels will go down in defeat.
Again, this capacity crowd starting to rumble. The one thing Shawn Michaels unquestionably has going for him is the relationship that he has with the clique, so to speak. There's no doubt, and Michaels will be the first to tell you that when he's down like this, he can feel that encouragement.
Oh, that's a bunch of garbage. Wrestling fans don't win matches. Wrestling ability is what wins matches. That's why I'm a winner, and that's why the British Bulldog is a winner. He doesn't need a bunch of clique cheering for him, or he doesn't need some washed-up Mexican named Jose Lothario on his corner. He needs wrestling ability, and that's it to win a title, and he's got what it takes.
A huge arm of the Bulldog wrapped around Shawn Michaels' neck, squeezing and squeezing away. You can't get super kicked when your opponent's on his back, and that's what we've got right now. Advantage Bulldog.
Michaels back up on his feet. Michaels set up for the ride. Bulldog goes for the clothesline, misses. From the other side, Michaels takes under again, and then, oh yeah! 1, 2, 3, oh!
That was 2.
Oh my God! A mid-air collision followed by the near fall and followed by the knockout.
That's it! 1, 2, and Michaels kicks out!
I don't believe it. I don't think the Bulldog can believe it.
And the Bulldog right back in control, wearing Michaels down, trying to keep him down on the canvas. Unbelievable action here in the World Wrestling Federation Championship matchup. Look at this. And Perfect trying to keep Cornette away. Is Cornette putting the bad mouth on Shawn Michaels. Both referees looking in to make sure that doesn't slip into a chokehold.
Michaels is fighting with all he can to get that huge arm away from his throat so he can breathe.
And again, this capacity crowd keeping Michaels very much into this matchup.
Michaels got to kick it to another gear here.
Yes, he does.
Shawn's got to quicken the pace. Shawn has to make Bulldog wrestle a fast match, a reacting match.
He doesn't have it in him. I said it earlier. Don't you think if Shawn Michaels could, he would kick it into a higher pace? He can't because he is too tired out. He's been out-wrestled, out-conditioned, and Davey Boy Smith is going to beat him. He's fighting Davey Boy Smith's match.
Both men on their feet. Michaels now. Oh, headbutt. Michaels set up again by the Bulldog. Bulldog with it. No, wait a minute. There we go. Trying to get him down. Let him do it. No, he didn't get him.
Great crucifix there.
And look out. From the other side. Bulldog now. Yes. No. Look at that. Here comes the, here comes the power slam. No. From behind. Michaels with a kick. Clothesline. Oh, my goodness.
The Bulldog had that well scouted. Cornette has prepared the Bulldog very well. The Bulldog knew Michaels' tendencies. Michaels was ready. The band had tuned up. Sweet Chin music was on the jukebox, but nobody came to it.
Bulldog is just too good. He came to this match prepared for the fight of his life, and he showed it right there. He just outmaneuvered and out-wrestled Shawn Michaels, playing as the nose on your face.
Two well-conditioned athletes. Look out now. Bulldog sets up Michaels for the power driver and drives him down.
That should be all. Bulldog should be covering Michaels right now.
What's he doing now? Bulldog's going to go for the insurance.
This is not good strategy.
Hey,
maybe
Jim,
it is.
Don't
I
you
disagree
question
with
him.
that. Going up to the top now. Bulldog with Michaels in. No. What happened? He slipped?
Bulldogs don't belong on top ropes. Bulldogs stay on the ground.
You know what? Lothario grabbed the ropes. That's what happened. And Ross, you quit speculating on my brother-in-law.
Jose Lothario grabbed the rope.
He jumped up and pulled the ropes.
I didn't see that.
I saw it. It's funny, Ross, you don't see the things that you don't want to see. I see everything, and I call it straight down the middle, just like Mr. Perfect.
Michaels and Bulldog in a grueling matchup.
What a shame. Bulldog had it all wrapped up, and that lousy Lothario grabbed the ropes.
Shawn's got to reach down here. He's got to regroup. If he's going to try to go for a home run, Michaels maybe trying to go to the top.
Michaels, yes. He's trying to get to the top. Go for that high-risk maneuver. Oh, no. Bulldog's on his feet. Bulldog with a drop kick. How did Bulldog drop kick Michaels from that height? Oh, no. Oh, no. Here we go. Michaels setting up. Being set up rather by the Bulldog. And look out. From the top rope. The British Bulldog with Shawn Michaels in.
Suplex from the top. That should be all. There's no way Michaels can kick out. It ought to be over.
It's over.
1, 2, and no.
Three. That was three.
No.
What a ripoff. I'm telling you, if that was Mr. Perfect, that would have been a 3 count.
Here we go. Now listen to this impact.
If Mr. Perfect was in there, that would have been a 3 count. This match would have been over with.
Mr. Perfect complaining to the official on the inside, appointed by Monsoon. He claims that should have been a count of 3.
It was.
Michaels now being set up again.
Well, they're right above us here. Shawn Michaels will go for a heck of a ride with an even worse landing.
The Bulldog. Oh, no. This is bad for Michaels. Look at that. He turned in midair. 1, 2, Michaels. No, no. Bulldog kicked out.
Michaels made a great adjustment in midair, turning the disadvantage into a crossbody, into a pinning predicament. But
what an unbelievable athlete. Both men, extraordinary athletes. Michaels now goes downstairs, right back up. And a collision that knocks both men down.
Man, that's a collision. Now this advantage, they're talking about the championship advantage. If this is a count out, Shawn Michaels cannot lose the title on a count out. So the Bulldog's got to be the aggressor. The Bulldog's got to beat the 10 count.
I think he knows that, Ross.
It could end right here. We're up to 7, a very slow count on the part of this official. Bulldog's moving on 8. And here we go. The match is still on. What clothesline miss? Michaels, what's he doing? Oh, no! 1, 2, a new chain. No.
Twice. That looked like another 3
Jammed
count.
down into the canvas right on his head. How did he kick out of that?
He's arguing. Mr. Perfect is arguing with the referee.
Michaels is running on instinct.
A thunderous power bomb, and Shawn Michaels, listen to the impact. Listen.
His head bounced off the canvas, and now Michaels set up for the right. Now reversal. Oh, no. Did you see that?
This is a World Wrestling Federation at its finest. The most coveted championship hangs in the balance. The champion and the challenger are giving it all they've got.
They certainly are. There's a lot of heart in both of these guys.
The Bulldog, Michaels, both men out. Set up for the ride. The Bulldog reverses. Michaels coming off the rope there. Yeah! Michaels connected. And Michaels, here we go! Michaels with the Bulldog. Wait a minute. The official just knocked out. When Michaels scooped up the Bulldog, the official.
Come on, Mr. Perfect. You're the senior referee. Get in here and do something.
Look at this from the top. Michaels down. Yeah! Yeah!
He hit it. He hit it. But I think the band's tuning up.
Well, that's what you get when you put a stupid referee in there.
Here we go! We're gonna hear that sweet chin music too! Listen and listen to this! Wait a minute, Mr. Perfect! Hey, wait! Hey! Two! Did you see that? Owen Hart! Michaels peppering Owen Hart! The Bulldog is up, but not for long! Owen Hart out here in the ringside area. Couldn't stand idly by. Look at Michaels missing with a kick. And now Owen Hart with those hard-sole shoes.
Figure four by Shawn Michaels.
Oh, no.
Inside the
Michaels had them both. Michaels had them both.
Michaels is fighting for his life after retaining the championship in one heck of a grueling matchup.
Michaels and the Bulldog and Owen Hart going at it. Oh, forget about it.
Owen Hart nailed him with those street shoes. Shawn Michaels is out. Shawn Michaels is helpless.
And look at this. Double team.
Double suplex. Michaels is being torn apart.
Wait a minute. Oh, man, Johnson.
The new Intercontinental Champion. Oh, my.
Oh, man, Johnson has come in to help out his friend. No,
There's
Vader.
Vader. It's 3-on-2. It's 3-on-2.
Cornette. Jim Cornette involved as well. Nailing Jose Lothario with a tennis racket. On the outside, while on the inside, we've got this carnage.
Come on. Ahmed and Shawn Michaels being decimated by a 3-on-2 attack. This crowd going crazy.
Look out, here comes Vader. Michaels. No. Look what they're doing to Shawn Michaels. Oh, no.
Michaels can barely stand.
And just jammed that cast into his head.
Michaels has been knocked crazy, knocked silly with that cast.
And wait a minute. No, Owen Hart and the Bulldog are setting up. They're setting up Michaels. No. Oh, no.
Vader, 458 pounds.
This should have been Shawn Michaels' finest hour. Vader gonna go up. Vader's gonna go up. Vader. Oh, wait a minute. Here comes the Warrior.
And there they are!
I know I'm sexy. I've got the looks. The drive so good. While I've got the move. The heel move. I said chill. Up and down that spine. Just a sexy bird.
Shawn Michaels is still the World Wrestling Federation champion. You have witnessed the 1986 King of the Ring. An extraordinary event is only the World Wrestling Federation can bring you.
We haven't seen the last of this one. This is a war. War has been declared.
The Wyatt Ahmed Shawn Michaels.
I make them feel.
If you want to help pick next month's big one, log on to WWE.com, follow the link to WWE 24/7 Classics on Demand, and vote right now. It's your chance to help shape WWE 24/7 Classics, so don't miss out. Vote today.